Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for coming and joining our sessions on building effective school transition teams and its impact on school readiness and academic success. Next screen, please. Our presenters today is myself, Pamela Ross from United Way of Greater Atlanta, Brenda Edison from Lake City Elementary School, George Cole, who is not with us today because he had a family emergency, and Dr. William Carter, who's the principal of Allgood Elementary. Next slide. So we're going to start today with an icebreaker, and our icebreaker is going to be, next slide, effective team. So I want you to, no, go back. I want you to, Dr. Carter and Miss Edison are going to see how many words they can come up with from effective team, the phrase effective team in 5 minutes. So how many words can you come up with around effective team in 5 minutes?
Okay. Going now?
Don't go over
start
5,
now.
Dr. Carter.
Start now.
Just any 5 words.
And you can say as many words as you can. You have 5 minutes to try to do as many words as you can from this phrase. You have 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. As many words as you can come up with from this effective team phrase. That is the task.
How many you have, Dr. Carter?
Not enough.
Got 2 minutes and 30 seconds. One minute and 40 seconds. 1 minute.
So intense.
I'm interested to see who got the most words.
Dr. Carter probably got this one.
You think so?
Yeah.
No, it's
Just
after
keep
lunch.
looking.
You said you got it. You said you got it. 30 seconds.
Oh, Lord.
10 seconds. Okay, time. Time. Okay, count up how many words you got.
Oh, I gotta take that one off. I used it.
Well, I think I have 17.
You have 17. How many
You
you have,
want-
Miss? Huh?
13.
You got 13.
Damn, because he kept looking. I was like, look at Dr. Carter. He is intense. Look at that.
Well, okay, what are your words, Dr.
I
Carter?
hope. Now, you said effective team. So, are we able to use them singular, effect, and team? Or
Yes.
okay, all right. So that would take mine up to the 19. Then, sorry, Miss Edison.
Well, mine is 15 now.
Okay, so let me. Okay, I have 5 in any order, right? We just use.
It doesn't matter however, it doesn't matter.
I have the word 5. I have effective. Then I got the little small words: am,
Mhm,
me,
mhm.
met,
You
effect,
cheated.
Uh-huh.
effect,
Uh-huh.
T,
Oh,
E-
yeah.
Eve, site, A, it,
Mm.
time, vet. Now I'm thinking Cam is a word now. Yes.
Mm-hmm. A
Uh-huh.
name.
Matt,
Mm.
cat,
At that.
eat, and I put team down here.
All right, Dr. Carter. All right. All right. Well, congratulations, Dr. Carter. You are the winner. And Miss Edison, you are the second runner-up.
Ooh.
All right. I believe Miss Edison had more than she letting us know.
No,
Okay.
honestly.
But we are winners. Okay, next
Yeah.
slide. Thank you guys for participating in that. So we're going to be talking about effective team, how to build effective team strategies, and then what does that look like in school transition. Next slide. So we're going to be looking at, first I want to start with a foundation of what the team, an effective team looks like. And this is a better team model that is a model of around team building. And it looks at 4 core things that really 5 core things that all teams should have as a foundational of their team structure. Next slide. So the Better Teams models has 5 key areas, has leadership, trust, align, are your team ready, and is it happy? And trust is the larger part that surrounds all of the triangles. And each of the 5 areas also have 3 significant characteristics that's built in their actual participant, in their team structure, which means there's 15 characteristics in all that interconnect when we look at effective teams. So we're going to look at each one of them just briefly, just to kind of show what this model kinds of builds out for your team. Next slide. So the first component of the Better Team model is leadership. When we think about leadership in your team model, we want to think about what does leadership bring and what is leadership? And leadership is a choice when we begin to start thinking about this in this model. We want to make sure that we want to think about, is your team proactive? So does your team have proactive goals and steps in which they're working toward? Or do you have accountability within your team structure? And what does it communicate? How do you communicate? So communication is a process for all the team members. So have you discussed how does communication work within your team structure? Is it clear? Does everyone know what's going on? Is everybody going to be accountable for the actions that's happening there for themselves and the other team members? And also, is your team proactive? So are you forward thinking about what's happening in your team? If you think about teams of what's happening with us now, we have to be a little bit forward thinking around because we've been in this COVID structure. So how does we move and navigate outside thinking in the box of our normal ways we used to do transition versus how we're doing it now? Next slide. The next component of a Better Teams model is alignment. So is your team aligned? So do you have goals that are aligned to where everybody in the team can see themselves in it and that you're working together for a common goal to accomplish a common goal? Are your methods designed so that everybody knows how you're going to process what's going to be going on within your team structure, how you're going to move your team, how you're going to move the goals, what kind of things are necessary to have in your methodology for your goals? And does everyone know their role? The roles and responsibilities, are they clearly defined? Does everyone know and see themselves how they can support each other individually as well as in their journey of accomplishing the goal for the team? Next slide. The next slide talk about, is your team ready? To ensure the team is ready to succeed. So do you have equipped members and resources in your team? Are your team members competent? Do you have the right skill set of people that are actually on your team to help you accomplish your goals with knowledge and skills and understanding of their responsibility, as well as are the members of your team adaptive? Do you have adaptability where people can listen and hear each other's ideas and shift as needed according to what may be happening in the environment of moving toward your goals? Next slide. The next component talks about, is your team happy? You were like, well, why do you need to have happy here? Well, if you don't have a happy team, then you're really not going to have fulfillment in moving towards your goals. So in an effective team, we want to make sure that we have happy. Talks about the fulfillment, not only fulfillment of the team itself, but the individual fulfillment of each member of the team. Can they see themselves in the enjoyment of completing the goal that you're trying to accomplish? The next one talks about, are they connected? Is there connectivity between the team members within the team? And do they feel like they function as a team? And how engaged is everyone in the team? So engagement exhibits that everybody's excited about being in the team. Everybody's excited about moving in the goal. And so that everybody is moving in this happy space to make sure that we're connected, fulfilled, and engaged as we move through our team structure. Next slide. It should have been another one before that. Okay, thank you. The last one is trust. And trust actually is the surrounding of all the areas when we talk about the structure of a team. It actually encompasses everything. However, it is in isolation as well. So trust. So the trust in the team talks about candidness. In the team structure, does people in the team feel like they can speak their mind, say what they need to do, bring their own ideas and their thought leadership to the team without feeling like they're part of the team, as opposed to not in isolation, as well as not feeling like they're going to be criticized for where they are in this process of moving in the team? How vulnerable is the team? The vulnerability of the team talks about, does everybody is it creating the trust that everybody feels vulnerable enough to be able to talk about and share their ideas and walk in this state of trust as we move in camaraderie around the team. And interdependency means that we're all working together. We see that working together is a process of the team moving forward and us reaching our goals, not independently working, but we see that independently working together is a part of this process. Next slide. So if you look at the team model again, we talked about the 5 quadrants of happy, the leadership, being ready, being aligned. And again, you see trust is the bigger triangle that goes around this whole model. And it actually has its own 3 compartments of the Better Teams model. So I wanted to share what a better team model structure of team would be, of a team model would be. And now I want to share what an effective school transition team should encompass. Next slide. So in an effective school transition team, you see that the child is in the middle. And so what we're trying to move in an effective school transition team is we're trying to make sure that we have all the touch points that touch this child in their transition format of moving from one environment to the next environment. And that we have these components on our team to help maximize this process. So we should have a parent on our team. We should have an early learning person on our team. We should have an elementary school or elementary component on our team. And we should have somebody from the community or some form of entity from the community that supports this whole thing. And we together work in the Better Teams model to make sure that we're moving effective school transition to the goals that we set for our plan for this year. So now that you've looked at, I gave you a little bit about the Better Teams model, and I gave you what is an effective team components are. Now we're going to hear from some experts who actually have an effective team, who've been working in this effective team model, and we want to hear from them. Next slide. So for our effective team experts who've been doing this work around actually championing effective team at their schools and sites, we have Miss Brenda Edison from Lake City Elementary. We have George Cole, he's not here today, he's absent, family emergency, and we have Dr. Carter from Alger Elementary. So I'm going to actually interview them and ask them a couple of questions, and we're going to hear their response about how they've been working in their effective team to move this work out. So thank you, Dr. Carter and Ms. Edison, for being here today. And I'm just going to start with the first question, and if both of you can kind of share this from your perspective. What do you think are the best parts of working in an effective team? And I'll start with you, Ms. Edison. You're on mute.
That's a quarter. The best part of working with an effective team for me was that Dr. Carter gave me, I'm not going to say authority, but to say so, to build a team that worked best for all good. So we had Teacher Rhea, who was our early learning. Dr. Carter was our head. Then we had a parent, Ms. Craig. And then our community partner who was Mr. Harding. So we pulled everybody together, and everybody was independent, act as independent agencies, but we brought our ideas together around how to make our community and our school effective to help our students.
Thank you. Dr. Carter?
Well, yeah, I'm going to say that the relationships that are built, the partnerships that are built when we have an opportunity to come together for one particular purpose. Just as Ms. Edison stated, everybody has their role, but and those roles may be different, but when they all come together, they create one transitional program that's beneficial for our students. And so just having the opportunity to work with Ms. Edison and George, and just all the individuals that are part of the transition, whether we're talking about our pre-K students, transitioning to kindergarten, or our 5th grade students transitioning to 6th grade middle school. It's just a joy in getting to know and work with everyone for the purpose and benefit of the students.
Thank you. Now, let me ask you another question. Do you think that having an effective school transition team has improved your activities and outreach?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, it's a vital organization piece. Of course, when you're running a school, of course, there's going to be some type of transition. Again, when I talk about our pre-K students moving on to kindergarten, when they're actually under the Georgia Department of Education standards. So that transition from the Georgia pre-K program to an actual standardized program, that's a change for them. And so having a organized system, an organized team that's able to, really look at what's involved with that next step of transition is so important.
Thank you. Ms. Edison, would you like to share something?
Oh, and our team, we pooled together our resources, whereas we have the pre-K, 4-year-old pre-Ks at the school, whereas George can tell us, let Dr. Carter know, and he can relate to pre-K teachers what to expect. So some of those barriers are broken down.
Thank you. Okay, the next thing I want to ask, if you had $1 million, how would you use it with your effective school transition team?
Dr. Carter, you want to spend your $1 million first?
Boy, I tell you, I said $1 million, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a lot, for a transition program, and it's really good to have, an abundance of funds, when you're trying to put together a program like this. Now, what I would do, I would definitely make sure I had staff, that were in place to do the various jobs that were needed, in terms of just creating an effective transition team. I mean, you can't, sometimes you can't put a number on, the value that certain staff bring to a transition program. So, making sure that we have the staff that are able to, come in and do the job that they're asked to do, and then actually create more relationships, create more opportunities for the students. Of course, the more funding you have, the better the program is going to actually be for the students, the better the experience. I'm thinking about, giveaways, T-shirts. If you're going to, say, Freedom Middle School, when you visit, you get a Freedom Middle School T-shirt. You get some type of souvenir that you can take away that's going to, just really get that idea entrenched in your mind. So, those are some of the things. I know that's not $1 million worth, but, that's a start.
To start. Miss Edison?
Oh, we would start the year off after all the staff is in place and our team is together. We would start the year off with a block party. Every 2 months, we would do something for transitioning. Say the block party to start the school year off, the middle of let's say around October, some activity in the neighborhood where we could establish relationships with other businesses, outside partners. I mean, we would just keep it going like we used to at All Good. And then we would end the year with parties, inviting, like we did in the past, pre-K, the daycare centers to our facility, pay for their lunch. Then we would go panels to each classroom. Oh, Pam, we would be number one.
Now, on the opposite of that, if you had no money, how would you sustain your school transition team?
You want to go ahead, Ms. Edison?
If you had no funding.
With no funding, I think we would, with the partners that we have, we would ask them to help us solicit funds or work around, do what we can. If we had to just ask for money to mail postcards to students, to new, and just anything we could do right off. I can't even think right now. Anything that we could do to get our new students in, because our area is transitional. So, I mean, Dr. Carter, I keep using his name because he's such an example. If there was something, if we needed stamps or something, he would just say, take this, buy these stamps, put it on, and mail it out. So having a person like him in leadership who's willing to use his own to make sure that the program was successful, the sky's the limit with no money, it appears.
Dr. Carter, you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, it's about being creative, and just as Ms. Edison was saying, just thinking about, you know, what the task at hand is. Definitely working with our partners to make sure that we can, you know, get the transition process organized to a point that we can still achieve the goal that we need to achieve, which is, I mean, the basic goal is to you know, just give the students an experience of what it looks like, you know, when you move from one grade to the next, or one school to the next. And so, you know, today with technology, I mean, we've learned through the pandemic that, you know, if you have a computer, if you have a, you know, a Zoom account, you know, you don't need a whole lot of funding. You just use that to connect. And I mean, that has really helped us out in many ways. And a lot of times you can do some of the same things you did before, but you just reorganize and restructure how it looks. And so, you know, even today we're doing that, and we're still able to be in contact, just like we're doing right now with United Way. I mean, where you are used to coming to building, now, you know, we're talking, you know, virtually, and we're still able to get things done. So it's about being creative. Yes, ma'am.
Yep, I agree with that. And your relationships. Your relationships are important. And like you're saying, we're doing a lot of technological things now. And speaking, you brought up the COVID. What kind of things have you guys made adjustments for, or accommodations for now since we've been in the COVID around your school transition activities? What shifts have you guys kind of made around that? Because like parents can't come in the building now, you know, the students can come, or they was all working virtual. So what was that impact around school transition, and what what did you have to kind of change or modify now that we had the COVID for school around school transition?
Right. So we've actually had to restructure, you know, what it looks like to do a transition program. And of course, again, with the technology, we can use Zoom or Microsoft Teams. And basically the presenters, they may create a PowerPoint with all of the pertinent information that students and parents need related to transition. So if we're going to Freedom Middle School, we may have all of the sixth grade teachers working together remotely, doing a presentation on what it looks like when you come into Freedom Middle School as a sixth grade student. We may have the principal come on and just make a overarching announcement and introduction to the students and the parents. And again, you may have the assistant principal talk about you know, the expectations of students when they come into the middle school setting. So you know, it just forces you to restructure what it looks like, you know, versus actually, you know, having buses that, you know, take students to the middle school. The students gather in the auditorium, and they go through the same format, but again, it's done more so in a virtual sense. And that helps a whole lot. Again, since we do have the concerns with COVID, you know, you don't have the people worried about, you know, having to wear a mask per se, or just, you know, being exposed.
Ms. Edison?
Oh, I agree with Dr. Carter. And then if there was something that parents needed at the school, they always come to the door and we bring it out to them. We can't hand out much, but if there's something that they needed and we would always just ask them to come in person, pick it up, so that there is that interaction still.
And so
with the man.
before, when we used to do well, the early learning programs used to come into the school and do the tours. So, you know, like now that's not a possibility now. So maybe doing things like virtual tours, actually doing a camera where you
Right.
have videotaping the school, or having, like you said, the teachers do interviews, or another thing maybe being like having past parents who were there actually doing a parenting group with new parents that are coming in, but their voice is coming from the parents who talk about their fears of their child coming to school. And now they're acclimated to the school and all those different kinds of things like that, because the COVID has shifted a lot of stuff, and a lot of our school transition stuff was driven by what we did with the students and what we did with the parents, and that looks a lot different now than it used to when we was doing it in person. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so having an effective school transition team, do you guys feel have it is a benefit for moving children in their academic success and their school readiness?
I believe it is, because again, there's always the mindset of the student when they're transitioning from one grade to the next, and especially if it's from one school to another school that's on a higher level. You know, a lot of times there's some fear that might be involved. You know, there's some concerns that parents may have about their child. You know, whether they're pre-K going to kindergarten or fifth grade going to sixth grade. It doesn't matter the age. Parents are going to always be concerned about their child, and so having the transition program gives them the opportunity to hear directly from the principal, directly from the staff members who are going to be working with their kids. And, you know, again, we talk about expectations, you know, when the students come into the building, but then you're also talking about academics. You're also talking about school syllabus and syllabi, making sure that, you know, students and parents have an understanding of what the expectation is when the students come into the classroom. And so having that information beforehand, before the school year actually starts, I think that's a benefit for parents and students.
Yep.
Yeah. You have anything to add, Miss Edison?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you, Miss Edison, and thank you, Dr. Carter, for being a part of our panel today around effective school transition teams. And we thank you for sharing your expertise around what you've been doing in your work in your community with All Good. And with that, we're going to say thank you for everybody who was participating. Thank you guys for participating. And we're going to say good afternoon and have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.